2 weeks into my fat loss phase, I've stopped tracking my food, I've reduced my calories, and I've dropped my step count by about 3,000 steps per day. What the hell have I been doing? Have I gone off the rails? Not quite, but I'm going to fill you in today on what's been happening over the last 2 weeks. And then there's also going to be some very useful pointers that you can take into your own fat loss phase to make your next fat loss phase more productive and easier. So how is the diet been going? Well, been going all right, actually. From day 1 to 2 weeks in, 1.9 kilograms down on the scales, which is cool. I'm not putting all my eggs in the scales basket, but that kind of tells me things are going in the right direction as well. And you might think I'm a bit weird for this. There's some points, areas of my body that if I feel, I know what they feel like normally. And over the last weeks, at the top of my ab area here, I can feel it starting to thin out, which is a positive sign that I'm losing body fat. That's why I suggest for my clients, they take a waist measurement. And if you're in a fat loss phase, taking a waist measurement, taking a scale, taking some pictures is useful. I tend not to take a waist measurement because I'm a weirdo and I feel bits on my body and I can tell whether they're reducing or not reducing. So why have I reduced the steps? Why have I reduced the calories? And why have I stopped tracking? When I first started the fat loss phase, we had fostered another dog. We've got 3, all very active, although they shouldn't look very active at this moment in time. And the 4th dog that we were fostering has now gone to a forever home. We were walking them separately, which meant that I was walking way more than I would normally. And now that dog's gone, my step count has dropped. And I only noticed it when I got a notification on my phone and that Apple Health was basically saying, oh, what's happened? You're doing 3 kilometers less per day than you were last week. I was like, oh, right, okay, so I need to act on that. Because all along I've been saying my range for calories is 2,500 to 2,800. And on the first week, it was going down nicely. So just to be on the safe side, I've been aiming for the lower end of that range because with the drop in activity, I just needed to take that into account. Couple that with, I have been noticing that on the weekends, my calories are higher than I probably want to. No, they're exactly what I want because I'm eating the food, but they're higher than I probably actually need them to be to counter the lower calories in the week. Because if you go too high at the weekend and low in the week, well, it's a nice way of doing things to balance things out. So you've got a bit of enjoyment and you can still get your body composition that you want. If you go too high, you screw yourself over for the week. And I noticed that I was going a little bit high. Last week, it was my wife's birthday. We went out for a meal during the week, and then we went out for a meal at the weekend as well. I was drinking a little bit more alcohol, so things were a bit higher. So I was like, right, we've got to make sure that you're hitting 2,500 calories during the week to counter any reduction in steps and to counter any increase at the weekend. And it's doing the job. And why am I not tracking my food? I'm eating pretty much the same every day. My breakfast is exactly the same every day, or 2 days of the week it's lower in calories. My lunch is exactly the same. My snacks are exactly the same. And my dinners, whilst they're not exactly the same, the structure of them is very, very similar. I have altered my meals a little bit more than I would do normally from the family. Right at the start of this phase, I said I want to keep it very similar, but I purposely kept my calories a little bit lower to enable me to hit that 2,500 calorie day. So here's the takeaways for you. So number 1, don't do what I did and stop tracking your food after 2 weeks. Because if you stop tracking your food after 2 weeks, unless you've been doing this for 30 years and you can with great certainty know how much you're eating, you will overeat and you will stall your fat loss. So if you started your fat loss phase tracking, then don't stop after 2 weeks. So that's number 1. Number 2, if your activity levels reduce drastically, which mine did, you're going to have to counter it somewhere because the amount of calories that you need on day 1 with X activity levels, if that activity level reduces drastically, I'm not talking of just a couple of hundred steps. I dropped mine by 3,000 steps a day, which is the equivalent of like a 45-minute walk. You need to take that into account with the amount that you eat. Because if you don't, your weight loss will plateau. And the third thing is, if you overeat at the weekend, you will screw your fat loss up. I really promote a balance of eating higher at the weekend and then lower in the week so you can still lose fat. However, if you eat with too much of abundance, drink too much food, you can't go low enough during the week to make up for that. If you're not subscribed to my channel already, please give us a subscribe, like this, comment below, let me know if you are in your fat loss phase. And if you have any particular questions about how to set up your own fat loss phase, stick it in the comments below and I will answer that in the next one.